With all the craziness currently going on in the world, you know what we need? We need something we can trust. We need something that we can count on. Something that will never let us down. Consistency, reliability. I'm talking, of course, about the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula always works. Old trusty old quadratic formula has always been there for me when I was in peril trying to solve a quadratic, couldn't figure it out. Boom, quadratic formula, solve the problem. No issues whatsoever. So let's hop to it. Let's jump right in and make this happen. All right, so the quadratic formula is a method for us to solve quadratics. Any quadratic, that's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. This is standard form, okay? As long as a is not equal to 0, the solutions to this equation, that is to say, the x values that make this equation true, are x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And that's quite a mouthful, but it's the truth. Pretty incredible, if you ask me. Pretty amazing. So, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to do some examples using this. All right, so let's go ahead and solve x squared plus 13x plus 30. Now, this particular problem, I would not recommend using the quadratic formula because we can use the zero product property to solve this. We can say, hey, is this factorable? Because that's the way that we should do it. All right, so don't write this down. But we could say, I need factors of 30 that add to 13. Okay, that's x plus 3 times x plus 10. Hey, we factored it. Zero product property. Boom. X equals negative 3. Boom. X equals negative 10. Hey, we did it. Hooray. Okay, we got the solutions. So we know the solutions are negative 3 and negative 10. That's what we're shooting for. But I need to convince you that the quadratic formula always works. So let's get started. We're going to use x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, we're going to go through. We might want to first identify a, b, and c. Now remember, a, b, and c. A is always the coefficient of the squared terms. If I'm going to go off of the sign, a is here is equal to 1. Not 1x squared, it's just 1. B is equal to 13, not 13x, and c is equal to 30. So now we can go through, and I'm going to recopy everything, but put it in parentheses when I substitute. So this would be the opposite of 13, plus or minus the square root of 13 squared minus 4 times 1 times 30. All over 2 times 1. And now from here, all we have to do is simplify. So I typically simplify, this, and then everything under the root, and then the bottom, and then we add and divide, and we're done. So this is going to look like negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 169 minus 120. So that's 4 times 1 times 30. Okay, and then in the bottom we just have 2. And let's just keep going down the line. We still got to simplify the root before we can do anything else. So that'll be negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 169 minus 120 is 49, all divided by 2. Going down the page, that's negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 49 is 7 over 2. And now we can split into our 2 possible solutions. One of them has the plus, one of them has the minus. Now let's calculate what our 2 solutions are. One of them is negative 13 plus 7 divided by 2. The other one is negative 13 minus 7 divided by 2. Negative 13 plus 7 is, what is that? Negative 6 over 2. So our first solution is x equals negative 3. Oh. Ooh. Okay, next solution is negative 20 over 2, which is x equals negative 10. I know what you're thinking. Slagle, what in the hoogie did you show me this for? Because that's awful, and the method that you did first didn't take nearly as much time. That's true. But we are human beings. We have insight. We can look at a problem, we can analyze the fastest technique, and we can choose that. So if it's factorable, you should do what I did before. If it's not factorable, you should use the quadratic formula. Or if you don't want to think about it or make a decision, just use the quadratic formula and it always works. It just takes quite a bit longer. But once you get in the habit, you really don't have to show all these steps once you understand the full process. For tonight's homework, I'd like you to show all these steps. Once you get in the groove of things, you can just cook. You can just cruise along. Let's do another one. Oh, this is in standard form as well. I see. Quite a righteous solution. Okay, we don't have an x. That's okay. Not a problem. It's okay. But this is in standard form. We have all of our terms on the left and 0 on the right. Let's identify a, b, and c. This one's just slightly different. A is 7. B is whatever's on the s term. There is no s term, so that means b is 0. And c is negative 7. Bingo. Look at that. Bingo. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So our solutions are not x. It would be, in this case, s equals our solution, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and plug in and get cruising. All right, negative b is 0. Negative 0 plus or minus the square root of 0 squared minus 4 times 7 times negative 7 all over 2 times 7. All right, I haven't done any math yet. All I've been doing is, or arithmetic rather, all I've been doing is plugging stuff in, substituting in. So now we're going to go down the line. Negative 0, guess what? That's just 0. Can't be the opposite of 0. That's silly. And then on the inside, we have 0. And then negative 4 times 7 times negative 7 is a number. That's a number. 49 times 4. That will be positive. Careful. Negative times a positive times a negative is positive 196. All divided by 2 times 7, which is 14. Just clean that up a little bit. Give that a little bit of a trim, a little haircut. And we're going to move on. This is 0 plus or minus the square root of 196, all divided by 14. I'm excited. I am very excited. Let's go ahead and, well, I think we can probably split into our two cases here. We got to do our plus case, our minus case. What's the square root of 196, you may ask? Venture. I invite you to venture to your calculator. Find that, square root of 196. Oh, that's 14, so let's do this. Our first solution is 0 plus 14 divided by 14, which gives us 14 over 14, which is 1. Sweet. First solution. Our second solution is 0 minus 14 over 14, which gives us our second solution, which is negative 1. Cool. But here's the deal. The quadratic formula worked, but I'm going to tell you, that's not the method I would have used on this problem. In fact, I'll do it 2 additional methods that still give us the same answer. What I would have done on this problem, oh, I said x again, didn't I? Gall darn it. That's supposed to be an s. I'm going to fix it. Swear. It will be done. S. S. S is for Slagle. Or I think it's Sierra in the old aviation alphabet. Okay, here we go. Solving this, we want to get s squared by itself. There's no b. Ooh, this is just like the ones we did on 8-3. Let's add 7 to both sides. Easy peasy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Divide both sides by 7. S squared is equal to 1. Oh, when we take the square, what number squared is equal to 1? Well, there's two numbers. And those two numbers are S equals 1 and S equals -1. Ooh, that was a bit easier to write. Like that method a lot. Or, if you're really feeling crazy, you could pull out a GCF and you could write this as 7 times S squared minus 1. Hey, look at that. That's a difference of squares. This is 7 times S minus 1 times S plus 1 equals 0. And there we have, we could ignore, so just S minus 1 equals 0. So we'll get S equals 1 using the zero product property, and S equals -1. Now these ones, this one's definitely the one that you guys should want to do. If you're clever and you realize that B equals 0. If not, quadratic formula works. Cool. Now we've got an issue. The issue with this one is not everything is on the left. We have some things that are on the right. So what we have to do is we have to get it. So the quadratic formula only works if it's in standard form. And currently we got something hanging out on the right. Now you have a couple options. You can move both of these terms onto the right and put 0 on the left, or we can move this term to the left and put 0 on the right. It does not matter at all. So I'm just going to subtract 4x squared from both sides. It has no like terms over here, and I'll write it in standard form, which would be -4x squared minus 33x plus 27 equals 0. Isn't that fun? Just peachy. Just peachy. This quadratic formula. All right, no excuses, team. This one's going to get ugly. Strap yourselves in. We're going in. X equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then we plug in, which is equal to the opposite of -33. Ugh, that's okay. Plus or minus the square root of -33 squared minus 4 times a, which is -4. And C, which is positive 27. All right. Notice I put the negative inside the parentheses here when I substituted, so please be careful. All over 2a, which is 2 times -4. It's going to be a whopper, folks. That's okay. The opposite of -33 is 33. This is 33. Plus or minus the square root, and I was lazy. I didn't memorize my squares all the way up to 33, like some of you guys. Crazy smarties in this class. Okay, and then here we go. -4 times -4, 16 times 27. So that's going to be a negative times a negative times a positive, which will be a positive. It's like 4 something. I've done this already. 432. All right, cool. And then down low, we got -8. All right, then we just start churning and burning. Going through here, 432 plus 1089 equals 1521. Square root of 1521 divided by -8. Boy, we're getting close. 33. Bizarre. 1521, I think that is a perfect square. I remember that being a perfect square. Whoops. 39. Okay, so we end up with 33. I'm splitting. I'm splitting right here, team. I'm not writing another step. We're moving fast. This is going to be 33 plus 39 divided by -8. And then down here is 33 minus 39 divided by -8. Oh, we're almost there. We're so close. 33 plus 39 is something. It is 72 divided by -8, which gives us our final answer of -9. And then over here, we have 33 minus 39 is -6 divided by -8, which will give us the solution 0.75. So you're probably wondering, Slagle, you telling me the parabola crosses at those two random locations? Oh, but they're not random. Turns out you can factor this one as well if you prefer factoring, or you can do the absolute beauty that is the quadratic formula. I'm going to pull up Desmos really quick just so you believe me. Alright guys, so let's say we want to check our answer using some sort of graphing software. What you do is you graph it once it's in standard form. Okay, so negative 4x squared minus 33x plus 27x. So let's go here. Y equals negative 4x squared minus 33x plus, whoops, new, plus 20. Whoa! What is going on? Okay, there we go. Hey, look at that. Where does it cross? By George. As the prophecy foretold. Yeah, it's like math makes sense or something. And you know, if I had moved these other things over there, let's just do that, just for funsies. I'm going to change the signs of all these. This is under the circumstance I added 33 and subtracted 27. Guess what? They still cross at the same spot. Doesn't matter. This one's opening up, the other one's opening down. They're basically the same. All right, Bob's your uncle. Let's move on to the next thing. We're going to skip that one. Let's take a look. Take a look. This thing underneath the root can cause some issues. It's got a name. This thing is called the discriminant, okay? And we're just going to call it D for the sake of this page, okay? The discriminant, that is b squared minus 4ac. It's got some, got a couple little attributes that we can kind of point out that's going to help you be able to make predictions as to what your answer is going to be, and it actually save you a lot of time. So you'll notice that on all of the previous problems, we were able to take the square root, and it was nice and pretty and beautiful. Square root of 49 is 7, square root of 196 is 14, square root of 1521 is 39. Okay, so it turns out that anytime that you have a discriminant, what color did I do this in? I don't recall. Anytime that you have a discriminant that is greater than 0, if you have a discriminant that is greater than 0, you will always have two solutions. Ooh, yeah. That's nice. That's a nice thing to know. We can count on the quadratic formula. Okay, well, what happens if you have a discriminant equal to 0? Let's think about that. Let's do a quick example. I'm going to come down over here. I'm going to do a quick example. If you have a discriminant equal to 0, let's think about x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 0. Let's bust out the quadratic formula. We're going to do it fast. X equals negative b, opposite of negative 6 is 6, plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 4 times 9. Hey, that's 36, right? You plug this in, what you end up getting, all over 2 times 1, you get 6 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2. Well, plus or minus 0 is not going to change 6, so you end up, in this case, only getting 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So when the discriminant is 0, we'll always end up having one solution. Cool. All right. 2, 1, what's coming next? You guys can predict. What happens when the discriminant is less than 0? Here's a very similar quadratic equation for us to solve. X squared minus 6x plus 11 equals 0. Okay, let's plug her in. It's going to be 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 4 times 1 times 11. All over 2 times 1. Okay. So we end up here with 6 plus or minus the square root of, so like negative 8? 36 minus 44? Yeah. All over 2. And we got a problem. Dot, dot, dot. You can't, when you go to your calculator, it won't let us take the square root of a negative number. We're not allowed. We don't know the rule yet. There is a rule, but you guys haven't learned it. So what this means is that this parabola does not cross the x-axis. It just doesn't. So there are 0 real solutions. 0 real solutions. Okay, so we just say no real solution. You have to say the word real. There's no real solution to this quadratic. There's no real number on the number line. Okay, so that is what we do when d is less than 0. Nice and peaceful, quiet. Okay. All right, you guys try this one on your own. I want you to take this seriously. I want you to give it your all. I want you to pretend like this is the last problem we're gonna do. This is your chance, because it is the last problem that we're gonna do. So you guys try it. Let me know what you get, or you can pause the video and check to make sure you got this skill down. And if you don't, that's okay, because you can make up a different one, plug it into the old Desmos, and check too. You can make up any numbers you want. Or let me start with Desmos. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. You guys go ahead and go for it. Okay, x equals, it's going to be 6 plus or minus the square root, because it's negative 6. It's going to be negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 3. I skipped a couple steps and then went back and corrected myself. Okay, if I'm going fast, once you get the hang of this, it can go pretty quick. That's the square root of 36 minus 12 all over 2, which is 6 plus or minus the square root of 24 over 2, which is, uh-oh, Slagle, we got a problem. What's the square root of 24? Well, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. It's an irrational number. So let's find out. 3 plus the square root of 24. 7 point, we'll call it 7.9. So it's going to be 6 plus 7.9 divided by 2, and 6 minus 7.9 divided by 2 are our two solutions. Which will be x equals 3.94. And when you go over here, it's not going to be the same. It's 6 minus 7.9 divided by 2 is negative 0.95. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake. That seems wrong. Can't be correct. Oh, no, that is incorrect. That is incorrect. Hold on. The square root of 24. Pause game is 4.9. I did the 2 steps. This is 4.9, so let's try that again. The Banshee wails. 4.9. 6 minus 4.9. Let's try that again, team. Don't know what's going on. It's nice, quiet, ambient background noise. Perfect. Just perfect for recording. You know, a lot of musicians actually strive for this in the back of their tracks. Really adds that bumpin' bass line that they're longing for. 5.45. And then just nice overall sound. Sometimes I'm feeling really stressed on the weekends, I'll just put on a tape of a child wailing. It helped me relax. Okay, now we got our 2 solutions here, and that seems a bit more reasonable. So let's check it on Desmos. X squared minus 6x plus 3. Let's do it. X squared minus 6x plus 3. Please, where does it cross? Haha, 0.55 and 0.5. 4. Hey, looks close enough. Let's go back to these 2 cases real fast. X squared minus 6x plus 9. Ooh, let's change that to plus 9. Ooh, plus 9. Hey, look, it crosses at one spot. Oh, 1 solution, the vertex is there, and it's 3. Hey, we already found that. And then this one, better not cross the x-axis at all. That's plus 11. Nope. There you go. There you go. We've done it, folks. We did it. We did it. I added that mistake in there to make sure you're paying attention. Okay, that's it. We'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you were able to see everything okay. Hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, quadratic formula. Take care. It's been real long, Mr. Slay. It was a long video. All right, I'm going to stop.